Is that Shining Resonance refrain I saw?
Yeah, Shining Rose.
Hell yeah. I don't know anything about it.
You get to play as dragons, like girls that turn into dragons, right?
Which is awesome to me.
Yeah,
I want girls that turn into dragons. That sounds awesome.
Why isn't that real?
Seriously. Why can't Emily, why can't you turn into a dragon?
That's the biggest problem with women today is they don't turn into dragons.
We're turning into like a men's podcast.
Yeah, just like the manosphere.
What's wrong with women these days? Why can't they turn into dragons?
Hey everybody, welcome to the JRPG Pursuit Podcast, your podcast for all things JRPG, whether it's games that we're playing right now, games that we want to play in the future, games that are gathering dust on our shelves. We're here to talk about them all, and we're so glad to be here with you. My name is Branden, and I'm joined by sometimes I steer into the skid, and it's funny,
if you want to do it again, that's fine.
I slammed on the brake, and I'm joined by my two incredible co-hosts,
Abdallah
and Emily.
And wow, hey, you know what? It's a new year. It's 2025, which is the most futuristic year that has ever been. I don't know if that occurred to any of you, but 2025 feels like some sci-fi stuff up in here, at least to me.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we are, unfortunately, experiencing each year sequentially. It just kind of feels the same. It hurts a little. Everything hurts a little more each year that goes by, unfortunately.
A slow, painful crawl.
Yeah. It's like those Garfield.
Happy New Year, everybody.
It's like the Garfield comic where he wakes up each year and is like a new crack. That's every
That's
year.
life.
That's life.
Yeah.
That's life now. But with this new year, we have officially launched our memberships on YouTube and on Spotify. So if you are interested in joining, supporting the show in that way, we really appreciate it. The Discord is already taken off. We've got people in there and chatting, and it's great, and it's so much fun to interact with you all. So check it out if you are interested. We'd love to have your support.
Yeah. We'd love to chat too. It's just fun time.
Yes, come in and chat.
Lots of conversations. We have a whole Trails channel going and talk about Japan trips and lots of fun stuff.
Animal pictures.
Good times.
There's lots of cats. And
animal
dogs.
pictures, naturally.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Yes.
I get to live vicariously through
through some of you. Yes, that's been great.
Yeah.
Very good.
So today we wanted to talk about expensive JRPGs. Okay. Some of these games, I don't know if you guys were aware of this. Some of them are really expensive. Just crazy amounts of money. I know, it's crazy, right?
It's weird.
We're talking so many dollars for just these bytes of data. And some of them aren't even that many bytes. So like some of them on the Super Nintendo, that's very few bytes compared to some other games, and you're still paying a lot of money. The cost per byte is ridiculous is what I'm getting at. But we wanted to look at the very expensive JRPGs that we think are still worth it. Like as a collector, or even just as a player, games that are come as close as they possibly can to justifying that cost, right?
Maybe.
So
maybe. Yeah, we might also
maybe.
talk about ones that aren't so worth it for certain people.
Yeah,
it depends. It does depend.
It's true.
They're all worth it to Branden, though.
No, they're all worth it to Branden.
I'm gonna put a big asterisk on that and say probably not true. But they're worth it to at least one of us.
At least
so
one.
that's important.
At least one. Yes.
At least one person who's paid for those on price charting.
Yes. Actually paid that price.
Well, actually paid that price, yes.
Yeah. So I feel like we should just get into it. What order do we want to do this in? Do we want to go generationally, or do we want to just throw caution to the wind and jump around willy and or nilly? What do you think?
I think willy and or nilly. Oh, whoa. Okay.
I
feel
all right.
We're at an impasse right now.
Tie-breaking vote is right here.
Yeah.
Let's go generationally. Let's go generationally.
I see how it is.
Yeah, let's just do that because
we have to build it up, no? And then compare different consoles, because I think we have some games that are on the same system and we have differing prices. It'll be interesting to compare them.
That's true. You guys make a good argument. So
I guess technically the first game that we had selected would be Earthbound then, right?
Yes.
Earthbound for the Super Nintendo.
Yep.
How much is that going complete in box now?
Complete in box is
disgusting.
Take out a second mortgage. We're looking at almost $2,000, $1,997 complete in box. I don't know that I've ever owned this game complete in box. I think even back in the 90s, I had gotten it used, just the cart by itself. So I'm very jealous of all those people that have those prominently displayed on their gaming shelves. Like, I would make room for it if I had it. You know what I mean?
Maybe
it would
one
be
shelf
just
for
one of
just
these.
that.
Does it get all the mother plushies too that they sell on Hobonichi and Japan? Well, sure.
So for anybody who's not familiar with Earthbound, it's part of the Mother series in Japan. We never got the first or third Mother games. Well, I should say that we did get Mother 1 on the Wii U. They ported it to the Wii U.
Yeah.
And it's fine. But Mother 2, aka Earthbound, is where I think the series really found itself, and it's just an ever loving shame that we never got the sequel officially for the Game Boy Advance, Mother 3 or Earthbound 2 or whatever you want to call it. Emily, you have not played Earthbound?
I have not. I've considered on the NSO because it's now available on the Nintendo Switch Online service. I just would have to pay for their subscription service to access it. So maybe one day when I want to go online and play games.
Yeah. It's one of those where I love it. Okay, so whatever I'm going to say next, let me just say I love it. It's a little hard to go back to as a modern player.
Interesting.
It's very difficult in like a number grindy sort of way. Would you say that is accurate, Dalla? You've played it.
Yeah. It's definitely okay. Like, so it's like one of those things that, you know, if coming away from it and you've grown up playing that game, those rose tinted glasses really help you like justify like, oh, it's great, like it's great. But like somebody who didn't grow up, doesn't have the nostalgia for Earthbound per se, like I've seen a lot of people that can go back and forth of like being either they love it or they hate it, and it's usually the people who didn't grow up with it,
sure,
or people who didn't like it initially. That's like there's a whole, you know, those people exist too. But I'm just saying, like, like right there with you is that it is a bit grindy when it comes down to, you know, because it is rather difficult to get everything. And I mean, it's not like the most difficult game ever, but for the time, it doesn't really have a lot of quality of quality of life. Like looking back at some of the like Final Fantasy VI and things like you enjoyed it during that period of time. It's like once you've played those games and you go to this game, it's a very different like vibe and a different like experience.
It's interesting because this came out. I want to say it came out in '95.
Yeah, I think.
Does that sound right?
I think so.
Probably, I think so.
And so like that was the same year as Chrono Trigger. It was after Final Fantasy 3/6. So I think that it's, in terms of playability, ease of playability, it is a step below those games. It's a little more. It
reminds me of like
I don't know what
early
the word
Dragon
is,
Questy. Like,
it has a Dragon Questy kind of feel in terms of like the level of difficulty. Maybe some of the zaniness too.
Like a hard difficulty, like when you fight, or is it just you have to commit a lot of time to grind to up your stats in order to go to battle?
I think you need to be willing to grind quite a bit. It's one of those games where when you get a new party member, they're at level 1.
Yeah.
And you are going to have to struggle to keep them alive through enough battles to get them up to speed.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of game it is.
Would you say though, like, because there are so many, like, I would say pop culture references of the time that people of that generation might be more inclined to play it if they didn't grow up with the game itself? Or would you say also, like, there's another thing with like newer fans coming in, maybe that are younger, who don't get all the references, it might be less interesting for them?
Yeah. I don't know if there's like a ton of pop culture references.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, there's kind of a
I always
kind
assumed
of
there
a
was for some reason.
there's kind of
I
a
don't know why.
Blues Brothers thing going on in there a little bit.
Yeah. But it's
like,
a product
that's
of
not-
the
I mean,
time. I think like
it is a product
the
of the
It's so
comedy.
for sure.
nostalgic. Whenever I
It's-
see,
yeah.
you know, the stills, I'm like, okay, there must be something that is drawing people to this. Whether it's
like-
culture references or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like less like pop culture references. So it's not like, let's say, you know, like you're playing like a Lunar or something like that when you're doing where you have a
they're
lot of the
throwing in
jokes,
jokes about-
things like
right.
that. It's more of like I think the overall feel of the game really is a product of the 90s. It's got that 90s aesthetic of like, you know, it's kind of like playing like, you know, one of those 90s movies that you think about.
Yeah. I always thought of
Kinda
it
like-
as similar to maybe like, what's that Netflix show? Stranger Things.
Kind of, yeah. Like it's similar.
That's
in
always what I kind of equated it to without
Thought-
playing it, of course. But
Yeah, I mean less horror focused, but
Yeah,
the like kids in the earlier era with psychic
like
powers
Goonies,
like that.
you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah, and there's enough
yeah,
like
that's interesting.
horrifying things happening in the world that they have to deal with, those kids. So like it's kind of got that same feel. I think it's just like the newer generation might think it's a bit cheesy or just the
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a hard sell, and I don't know how good of a job we're doing with it, but like
I think we're being really critical. Like
I think it's the most critical I've heard of this game ever mentioned, honestly.
don't get me wrong, I love this
I
game.
love it.
Like yeah,
I
like
love it.
it's,
I think it's a work of genius. I really do. Like Shigesato Itoi is like, as a writer, is one of the most interesting, eclectic, weird writers, and there is some deep stuff in Earthbound. Like it wears the guise of like goofy, lighthearted, whimsical adventure, little kids going on a journey, and it is that, but like there's so much more to the story of Earthbound and to what happens in the world, and like the concepts that it's dealing in. It's very, I would say, like even kind of mature. Yeah. Which is funny because, like I said, the aesthetic is very like childhood whimsy. But that's Shigesato Itoi. Like that's his writing walks that line so brilliantly. Yeah. That, you know, fully experiencing it, reading all, like this is a game where it's fun even for someone like me to go around and like read the dialogue from random townspeople. Because it's either funny or weird or both, and
exactly
it's
that
it's
dichotomy,
incredible.
though, of like living your childhood kind of fantasy, you know, through these kids, but also facing all these mature concepts that we usually also face as adults is probably what draws in a lot of people. Is my guess.
I think you're right. And I don't know how I know the Japanese fans love it and love him.
Yes.
But I don't know like what in particular draws them to it, because it's like, you know, it's like the Western world as viewed through the eyes of some guy from Japan. You know, it's like a little, it's a little off. So if you're playing it as an American or a Canadian or somebody more used to Western culture, it's going to feel a little off at times, but like, it's in a fun way, right? It's interesting and not like off-putting.
Yeah.
Because the modern equivalent to Earthbound, right, is Amori. So I'm wondering, for people who are interested in this type of game, would they be better off just looking at Amori than going back to Earthbound, or do you think there's value in playing both?
I think you get the most out of Amori if you have some experience with Earthbound. Not that they necessarily even cover the same sorts of topics, but the cultural impact of Earthbound is necessary to understand in order to, I think, get the full impact of Omori. They are definitely two very different things in their execution, but I think that there's benefit to having some Earthbound experience, you know, like to get into Omori. What do you think, Dalla?
I completely agree with that. I think, and I think like even if you take Omori out, like I think just there's been so much influence coming from Earthbound as a whole that I think everyone needs to at least put some effort into like trying it out, like whether it's for you or not, just to kind of understand like, you know, where did that style come from and why is it loved so much by so many different like indie developers and or like, you know, just developers in general. Because like it
in
is
other countries too.
Yeah, like it's very popular. And I think it really kind of creates this like it's done a lot in terms of like developers in the sense of like creating this very, you know, how like Branden brought it up as being very kind of like a deep undertone, like storyline and or characters and or feelings to this game wrapped in a very kind of like bubblegum poppy like feel of like aesthetic. And it's like that contrasting view of the game of like you're going through it and it's kind of like Alice in Wonderland in a way. So like, you know, it's like kind of like almost like you're surrounded by like almost like this like layer of madness that's in the background to everything. Even though everything outside looks aesthetically pleasing and it's interesting and it's cool and it's like something like that. Like it's like that, the aesthetic of the 90s where everyone has like this, you know, when you were living in it, you're like, this is great. And then now it's like that nostalgic feel to that same thing. Yeah. But behind the whole curtain of that one, like you don't look behind the curtain because it's all, it's all madness back Twisted. There. Yeah.
Right. It, you know, as you were saying that, it reminded me of the anime. I don't know if you're familiar with Fooly Cooly.
100%.
FLCL.
Yeah.
So Fooly Cooly is, have you seen that, Emily?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So Fooly Cooly is a really interesting show. It's 6 episodes from like was it the early 2000s? Early 2000s when that came out. It is a zany, wacky, goofy as heck type show. Yep. I fully appreciated it when it kind of occurred to me that it's actually a drama. It's just a drama told through the lens of like a screwball comedy almost. Yeah. Like wacky hijinks, but it's like there's a drama underpinning the story. That's kind of like how Earthbound feels, is there's this heavy like layer beneath it all, and then it's got this kind of facade of like happy-go-lucky, bright sunshine, kids in baseball caps and riding bikes and, you know, so it's, like, I feel like I see that sort of style way more from Japanese creators than I do from any other type of creator, any other nationality of creator. So I wonder what it is, like if it's people that were just inspired by Shigesato Itoi, is he just like the pioneer of this kind of weirdness, or is it some other deeper cultural thing, or is it a coincidence? I guess it could also be a coincidence. I don't know. Yeah.
I know that, like, you know, I don't know, like a lot of Japanese media has that zaniness to it sometimes, even though it could be a little like serious on the undertone. So I think it might be like partially media culture there, like how they like develop types of like genres and I guess mix of genres.
Yeah, their expression, I think, for trying to describe, you know, the chaos that lies under things.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's interesting, and the one thing, it's like, I guess like a lot of people who grew up with Earthbound is like, you know, you play it as a kid and you experience it in that kind of zaniness and you're like, oh, this is cool and stuff. And then you replay it as an adult and you're like, oh, okay. Like there's like a whole different layer to this, as like you didn't like maybe always pick up as a kid, which is the interesting aspect to it. So I think that's why like it's so passionately loved by, like, you know, us and all those, like everyone. That's why it's so hard. That's why it's so expensive. Like everyone just wants it, even though it's not like a super.
It's not a rare game, but it is like this. The loose copy I have is valued at $350, which is for the cartridge. Like that is it. So it is not a rare game, but it is an expensive one. Never a better time to play it than now with the NSO. If you're subscribed to NSO, then hey, you've got access to it. Lucky you. You don't have to spend so much money on it like I did. It's okay. I had an eBay gift certificate, so it helped when I bought it. But it was
so what's the verdict? Do you guys think it's worth complete in box or cart only?
Oh, not complete in box. Good God. No. Don't do that. Don't spend $2,000 on any video.
Unless you have some very passionate like love for wanting to be a completionist of sorts, like, and you have money to burn, go for it.
If that's your collecting goal, if that is your goal as a collector,
it's like your holy grail,
this game complete in box, you know, this is meaningful to you in a particular way. I'm not going to say that that's not worth it, but I'm going to say to the general player who's maybe interested in collecting just good JRPGs, absolutely. I think it's worth having on the shelf. Save your pennies for it, and, you know, put some money aside every month, and eventually you pick up Earthbound and you'll feel good about it.
The same thing with I think Loose Cart. Like that could also be a goal, depending on how you want to collect. But is it necessary? Maybe not. Like, haven't they also ported this like on plenty of emulated kind of bootleg stuff?
Yeah, it's on the Super NES Mini console as well. And like we said, the NSO. So there's plenty of ways to play it if you are not looking to collect or you're not looking to collect $350
Accessibility is not
cartridges.
an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely play it.
You can find ways to play this that fits your, financial needs at the time.
Even if they take it off the NSO in the near future, like there's other ways to find it.
Exactly. There's plenty of ways for people to play it that I think like paying that much money for it is just not reasonable at this point, unless it's something that you truly are. It's like your holy grail. Then go for it. Awesome for you. Get it.
Also, something we might want to touch on if we continue this series is like what type of media does it make sense to splurge on versus not splurge on? So do we think that cartridge is maybe something that would hold up better in time than, say, a disc kind of copy of other games? Or
Yes.
So on that standpoint, maybe it makes sense to collect it.
Yeah, if your $350 purchase of that cartridge for Earthbound is going to hold up better than any of the $350+ Saturn games that are on my shelf right now.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. It's like the cartridge will last. I mean, it's because it's basically just
it's solid state media. It's not.
Yeah, like you're not going to run the risk of disc rot that Sega Saturn games are prone to at this point, where you just got to be very careful, or you just end up unlucky, where you spend almost $1,000 on what do you call it, Panzer Dragoon Saga, and it just dies on you.
Don't buy it from a cellar in Florida. You got to avoid that humidity.
But
no, not to disparage Florida, just that's very humid.
Yeah,
it is humid there.
and those discs don't like humidity, so
they don't like humidity. So. But yeah. Anyway, I think we've said our piece on Earthbound. Do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear what you guys think. If you own it, or you think it's worth owning. If you don't,
what's everyone's thought on that? Yeah.
Next up, we had a Game Boy. Is it Game Boy Color? Yes, Game Boy Color game, and that is Pokémon Crystal.
Yes, complete in box.
This one, this one complete in box is 602 American dollars. Loose, it's 152. So another very pricey game. Yeah. I have no experience with this one, so I will throw over to you, Emily, to launch us into this one.
So I actually never played Crystal. I played Silver. Which is the one that came before it. Because at that time, I didn't really think it was worth, buying the game again just for a couple different inclusions that wasn't on the originals.
Oh, is Crystal one of the reissues?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So they did Silver and Gold, and then Crystal came after for the second gen for Pokemon.
Got it.
But it's the most sought after. I'm not totally sure why. I think it's because it includes, more of the legendary kind of Pokemon and other kind of little bonuses that wasn't on the original two. So that's usually why those are sought after. And I'm guessing they also have lower print runs because it's, after the initial launch.
Yeah.
And that's probably also why the cardboard's expensive.
Yeah.
Did you play this one, Dalla?
I did play it. I think I borrowed it from a friend back in the day. I never actually. I don't know if I own it. I don't remember actually. I have to look. I keep thinking I own something from that generation, but I don't remember exactly what it was. But I mean, I'm with you on that one, Emily. Though, it's not necessarily, since it's very close to the previous Silver. Not Silver, but it was
Gold.
Silver and Gold. So I think there's the thing is about with Pokemon is the fans are very, very, very passionate, and they will want to play it's very, very much it's collect them all, but then also it's there are people who are very nostalgic for specific games. So it might not be our nostalgia necessarily for Sapphire, but
yours was from Sapphire? That was your nostalgia? Or which generation is your most nostalgic one?
My most nostalgic, I mean, it's always going to be Red and Blue, because I think that's the one that's my first. The first
with?
Pokemon game I played was Blue and Red, and so that's going to be like my ultimate like look back and remember the first time I played it, first time I collected all 150 and got Mew on 151 using like a Game Shark thing back in the day, and so like, and the first time you dealt with like missing No and things like that. So like with Pokemon, it's so integral to nostalgia. And that's probably the biggest reasons why, like, you know, with Crystal, you're looking at like, it's Crystal, right?
Yes, Crystal is the one that we're focused on right now. There's some other ones that are pricey, of course. Pokemon's all really expensive.
It's all really expensive, honestly.
A ton of, even compared to Earthbound, a lot more copies out in the wild in circulation.
Yeah.
Like if you go to any game store, you always see like any Pokemon games, they're always like at least, like they're always over $100, especially if you look back at like, you know, anything within the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy era.
Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance seem to be the
loose
the
ones, to be fair. When it comes, like was it last year or the year before, I got my just loose card of silver and yellow. And I don't think I paid more than $45 each for those at the time. So there are affordable ones. It's just when you get into the cardboard, that's when it gets really expensive. And then also Crystal Loose is also pretty expensive because, again, there are, I think, fewer of those available. And it had the cool, like, bluish, clear, you know, translucent cartridge.
Yeah. I don't think that sold as many at the time.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, we should have maybe looked up the numbers. I'm sure they're published somewhere. But
yeah, I'm sure.
That's usually the case, right?
Yeah.
And for me, the second generation is actually my most nostalgic one. So technically, it probably should have been Crystal. That's what, you know, my grail would be. But I never played that one, as I mentioned. It was only silver. So that's why I was content with just getting silver for my collection of buying back my old games. And also, the other thing to consider with the second generation for Pokemon is that they made Heart Gold and also Soul Silver on the DS, which are the upgraded versions of the second gen line.
I think those are expensive too, I think.
Those are very expensive as well. They're not quite as expensive as Crystal in box.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at the 150 to 180 something range in box for Soul Silver is what I was looking at. Maybe more with the Pokewalker.
I was going to say, wasn't there a Pokewalker?
The Pokewalker, yes.
Yeah. So that one might be like I don't have the numbers in front of me, but a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot more.
Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah. You look at the numbers, Brandon. But there's also rumors, though, of this also just getting some sort of remake down the line again, because it's such a popular generation. Like, I think from my understanding, among a lot of Pokemon fans, the second gen is one that's very much cherished and thought of well.
Yeah.
So I could see them bringing that back once again.
Yeah.
But which I'll be here for because I like that. That's, again, my nostalgic generation. Because I played that and then I went back to Yellow. But because I was kind of, because I didn't have a Game Boy. I just had the Game Boy Color. So that was the new game that was out at the time when I got my Game Boy Color.
Okay.
But
I have a question.
Yes.
What is Pokemon?
What is Pocket Monsters?
What are the Pocket Monsters? Can you guys fill me in? Because you guys are talking about something I have no clue what you're talking about here. Pocket Monsters? I don't want to.
They're creatures that
I don't want.
You force them into little balls, and then you make them fight each other. You make them fight each other.
Labor.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like dog fights.
Yeah,
and you pretend that you're friends with them.
Oh, okay.
But you're like your best friends, but you want them to fight other Pokemon.
But they're like you imprison them and you.
So it's basically almost until they're murdered. You fight them almost to the death.
But then we bring them back just to do it again. So like we're just.
Why didn't I ever get into this? Why didn't I ever get into this series? This sounds rad. This is rad as heck.
It's really it's wild like that. This is the thing, but no.
So anyway, I'm obviously I know the Pokemans. I know them. But let me ask: do you think it's worth? What did we say? 600. The complete in box, $602, or even the loose $152.
I would say that Crystal. Loose, yes, it's worth it to those who are nostalgic for it. It's not like, let's say, it's not worth it to me. But like if you all love that game, like if that's a game you grew up with, I mean, we've spent $100+ on silly games. You know,
sure.
for things that we love. So like I think it's not unreasonable. You're not paying $300 or $400. I mean, there are definitely other ways that you can play this game. I think there was like back at I mean, there's plenty of ways you can figure out how to play it.
It was actually available on the eShop for a little bit. I think on the Wii and also I think on the 3DS at one point.
On the 3DS, yes, yeah.
Maybe they'll bring them back again because they have like the Pokemon trading card game now on the NSO.
Yeah, they're
So
not
we might
wanting to
see
bring
it
out
come
any
again.
mainstream Pokemon games on there. I don't know what they're planning
It's
to
weird
do.
that they haven't put them on there, you know?
They might have some sort of plan. Who knows?
They must have some plan. I can't imagine them going back into the vault, not making money for them.
Right.
But like, I mean, it's like within the price range of somebody who like has, let's say, you know, you're older, like you grew up with that, you have some disposable income if you do. It's not unreasonable. That's in my opinion, at least. You can buy that. I wouldn't say. We'll say. Okay.
That silver and gold are a better deal.
Oh, 100%.
Basically the same game.
Yes, yes.
So just buy that.
No, exactly. I mean, there are better deals that you can get. Like you can get silver, gold, or you can go back, or you can play, you know, Ruby. I think Ruby's cheaper.
Ruby and Sapphire are pretty cheap because the 3DS remake came out, and that's actually a better game,
true.
is what I've heard. So
yeah,
I only played the 3DS version. I liked it.
So there's plenty of Pokemon games that you can get that cost, you can still buy a lot of the 3DS games on VGP right now that they had, I think, for a while.
Yeah. And if you don't mind the UAE versions,
they have those.
very easy to find.
But I mean, it all comes down to like, are you nostalgic for that specific game and how, you know?
You also have to be careful because there are a lot of fakes out there.
Exactly.
And you have to spot them. And
That's
you have
the
to kind of know what you're
scary-
doing. Got to open them up.
Yeah,
and
Pokemon's one of
identify
the most spoofed series, I would say.
You really have to be careful with that.
Yes. And not just because you're not buying a legitimate thing, but a lot of the fake ones, they tend to have, it's the hardware's or the hardware's the worst, right? So it tends to wear down and break down over time. So
Exactly.
it's not something that you want to invest money in for it to, break down on you.
And you don't want to
if you're
spend
buying a $10 repro.
Yeah.
If you're buying a $10 repro, fine.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, don't get
go on
tricked into
AliExpress,
spending
you can find them
$150.
on-
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to spend $150 on a repro. Like that's just silly. And
No.
we don't recommend that. But if you found a real
I think a
one,
repo box, though, is a good idea.
Yeah.
And look nice on the shelf.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be in better shape than most other cardboard that was from that era.
Exactly.
Yeah, because us kids, we didn't take the best care of that stuff.
Nope.
No.
In America, we didn't, at least.
Yeah, we destroyed that a lot. I know Brandon's got a lot of like mini ones that are cool.
You could also get the
Oh, yeah.
inbox Japanese ones that
Or
are
the
pretty good.
Japanese copies.
Yeah.
Like they're a little expensive still, but they're not as
Are they?
expensive as the North American ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they used to all be so dirt cheap. I think those prices
know.
are creeping up over there, too.
Because we kept buying them.
Yeah.
Back in
They're
like
like, oh,
the
it's worth
early
something.
2010s, when I used to live out in Japan, like it was dirt cheap to buy in-box Pokemon games, like 300 to 400 yen. So like $2,
Yep.
$2 for inbox. So
No
yeah,
longer.
but that's not real anymore.
Those
My
days are
last
gone.
trip, in my last trip, I had a very harsh reality to how much games cost there now, and I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah. I warned you.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think just to sum it up, I think it's really wholly on nostalgia. Like whether you want to buy it or not.
Most of this list is, right? I think that's
100%.
gonna be
I think that's going to be.
what we're going to be saying for most of these. But but I do think there's a strategy if you do want the specific game. Like you could look at, the earlier games, the silver gold versions, or even the DS versions if you want the upgraded one and you want to pay about the same price.
I think it might be interesting for the viewers / listeners, maybe, if we, for each of these games, if we say whether it is worth it to us. If we didn't have the game already, and if we didn't have a way of playing it via emulation or whatever, is it worth it to us? Like, I would say Pokemon Crystal, probably not worth it to me, even for just the cart by itself. I have no nostalgia for it.
It just makes sense for you.
Yeah, I'm much more interested in later games, if any, in the Pokemon series. So for me, I would say no. What would you say?
Abdallah goes first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I personally, I would say no. Like I wouldn't search for this game. I don't even look this game up because it's not like necessarily on my nostalgia list of Pokemon games that I'm passionate for. So
yeah.
And Emily, you already kind of said like
I basically said mine, but I'll say it again. Like as the one with the most nostalgia for this era of Pokemon, it's not worth it. I would just get Silver or Gold or the DS versions. Or wait for, I think, the inevitable remake that's going to be coming that's been rumored for a while. So there's plenty of ways to play, I think, the best generation of Pokemon. So
yeah.
You just
Is that the Johto? Is that the Johto generation?
Johto Kanto. You get both.
Yeah.
You start off in Johto and then you go back to Kanto.
Primarily in Johto, and then there's after post-game
and
content.
then you get to go back to Kanto. That's why it's the best.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
I
why
just hear
everyone
people talk
loves
about
it.
the Johto games, and I thought that I was making that connection right. Anyway.
No, you got it. You got it.
I would say, to jump back to the previous game, Earthbound, for me, I would say, yes, I would pay for not the complete in box, but for the cartridge by itself, $450 or whatever it is. It's worth it to me because from the collector standpoint, to me, it's a very important kind of pivotal game in the genre. And since that's what I'm about collecting is that genre and important games and games that I enjoy. Yeah, in that genre, it's worth it for me. Would you spend that much money, Dallah? On the game?
I don't.
Because you don't have it.
So. I don't have it, and so I think
this is a real test.
This is a real test, and honestly,
if you say yes, you're going to have to buy it.
No, and that's where, and that's, I mean, and I think that's where, like, at this rate, I probably would not buy it unless there was, unless somehow like the price went down to like a reasonable, like, around.
Would you get the Japanese version? That's if it's cheaper, just for display purposes.
For display purposes, yeah, I'd probably grab like it depends. Like if I were to find a good deal on the Japanese version, which is cheaper, then yeah, like. But ultimately, I know there are other ways I can play it.
Yeah.
I know I'll always feel a tinge of like FOMO for not having the physical cart, and I love playing like especially like those games physically on my SNES. So I'll always feel shame. Yeah. There's always going to be like an underlying
shame.
It's like my own personal shame. It's fine.
Yeah.
But
it's not societal shame.
No, it's not. Nobody's shaming me for this, but I will feel my own personal shame for this. But
maybe disappointment.
Yeah, it's like a disappointment of like I want to buy this game, and like I don't know. I just like can't see myself probably spending the $400 to get it. It just doesn't seem financially sound to be that silly. Because I was like, there's plenty of games that I would rather probably get before that. Like in terms of like multiple games, I can
priority list.
Yeah, and I could probably scratch multiple games off my list with one fell swoop of that one like price of one game. So that's my thought.
For me, I have zero nostalgia, and I don't know if I'll get around to playing it. But for me, I think the NSO makes the most sense. So does it really make sense for me to buy the physical at this point? And I don't collect for that system, so there's that too.
Right. As much as I love it, I still would probably say no. Don't. Don't.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. No. You can borrow my Super NES Mini if you really want to play it.
Yeah.
All right. So that's our first two games. So let's move into the PlayStation era, I think, next.
Yeah, why not?
Disc-based games.
Disc-based games are here. And they are a little easier to damage. So you can maybe see a slightly more justifiable, reason for these to be a little more valuable.
Luckily, PlayStation games for the most part are like stayed the test of time pretty well.
Does it matter which type of DVD disc it is? Like the ones that are blue versus like I'm not really familiar with.
I'm not entirely sure on like I know there were like PlayStation from a PlayStation 2 perspective, there were some that were better than others. In terms of like quality wise of the disc itself. I don't know the differences offhand though. Yeah,
I think there might be some benefit to one or the other. And then when they eventually, went to Blu-ray discs, those are much hardier.
Yeah.
But early stuff, though, with the DVD discs and was PS1
God help us, the
DVD,
CDs,
or was that a CD-ROM?
the CDs, the CD-ROM, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
It was the black disc. I don't know if that makes them
disc.
hardier, but they were the black discs for the PS1.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so there's two that we had. I'm just going to briefly talk about Xenogears, which I have
Right here.
Right there.
Black label.
Black label.
Got the black label.
It's my original
Mine's got
copy.
Yeah, mine too. It's got the nice
jealous.
cracks in it.
Oh, I have like a
Great
little
stuff.
scrape across here, but there's luckily no cracks.
You got the manual in there, or are you a chump?
Oh no, I've got the manual. What do you?
Okay, I was
It's his
going to say.
original. You would have been bashing
my original.
how he cared for his game.
I
Yeah,
know.
if you
Yeah, the
didn't have
manual.
it, I would be
is,
straight up.
this
You're
is-
talking about
this is-
shame. I would be bringing the shame.
I would throw myself out here. Like, what am I
Yeah, you
doing?
would. That would be terrible if you didn't still
like
have the manual.
Xenogears,
your
and I don't
original
have the
copy.
manual. What
Don't
am
have
I?
the manual.
But you have the poster thing behind you.
You do have that
That's my
wall
little-
scroll. So.
Little
Well,
Faye and
that's
Weltall, yeah, he's kind of hanging out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's-
Xenogears. My gosh.
what can we say about that?
It's $135 complete. I hate to say it, but like that's not terrible.
And
No.
then what's the green label one? I feel like that's less.
Oh,
yeah.
probably.
It's probably less.
Let me see if I can
Though I
find
don't
it
know
real
if
quick.
there's a difference on disc between those two, because I
No.
I know in that era sometimes they had more
Yeah.
like content on one or the other.
I don't know
Xenogears
that
never
that happened as
changed.
often in the
I figured that was the
PlayStation
case.
era.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like $18 cheaper if you don't mind the
18, okay.
green.
You
Only
go-
18 bucks cheaper.
That's not.
I
a
would pay the
difference.
extra 18 and get the black label.
The black
one.
label is so much nicer looking on the shelf.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
So uniform. So beautiful.
Honestly, it's definitely worth it. Well, it's coming
Yeah.
from me.
I mean, like, I'm not going to bury the lead.
No one's gonna be
Freaking
shocked.
Xeno Beast. Like,
no one's
yeah.
gonna be shocked out there listening. Like, you guys know me.
Come on.
You guys know me.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for Xenogears, and I will always say yes. But it is interesting to see, like, what was it like? When was it? Like, it was probably 10 years ago that like it just skyrocketed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it used to be like a $50
Do you
game.
think Xenoblade had any play in this?
I'm not sure.
No, it was
That wouldn't
before.
be surprising if it was.
Well, it jumped up. Probably. Well, it was probably around Xenoblade: The Chronicles, the first one, like the first
On the Wii?
Xenoblade.
On the Wii, the
That's
original?
like when it like
It's a little over 10 years ago, but
because like I think it
yeah, I don't know.
like I don't know when it
Price
skyrocketed
charting
like
does
that.
tell us over time.
Oh,
what the
that's true.
price is.
Trends.
We can probably
If
look
we
at that.
Pull that up. We can verify this.
But
they only have data going back to 2017. So,
Oh,
but it was
lame.
as low
Never
as
mind.
$27 back in 2017. So,
oh, okay, interesting. But like, let's say for Xenogears, this is a game that if you look at dollar per experience or how much time you put into a game like this, it does you end up getting your money back and more if you want to. I mean, one of my first experiences playing this game, I put in like over 100 some hours, maxing out everything. So it's like one of those games you can play it. It can be as long as you want it or short as you want. Oh, not short as you want it, but
there's a minimum.
There's a minimum. There's a
If you don't
minimum.
play it, it's 0. It's a big jump up to the next minimum.
And I feel like if you're like a JRPG fan, like Xenogears is kind of like one of the
It's like
good
Earthbound, like we were talking about.
It's like a
historical kind of
highly
monumental
esteemed.
piece.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's like it has influenced a lot of people, and it's just kind of created a lot of just like it's just well known in that sphere. For story.
Literally changed my life in a way
100%.
that's not just me being dramatic. Like literally altered my life existence.
Yeah.
So pretty important game for me. I would agree that I would pay that and more if I didn't have it and had no other way to play it.
So
I would
for those
100%.
who haven't played it, do you think it's worth it, even though it's not a complete game?
What do you mean? Like, or just the discs?
argument that the disc 2 is
that,
is
okay.
shortened.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like even at its
100% worth it.
Even in its worst state, if you want to call it that, it is still a better story than many other things out there. and
probably
it's
most
probably
of the generation that came along with it.
Yeah,
that came before it.
it's
It's
an incredible experience.
It's remarkable. Now that's not to say that it doesn't have issues that would might stop you up in the modern era if you're coming at it without any nostalgia. Like there are some, it's a PS1 game, so some of the environments are pretty janky looking. I love the pixel art on the 3D background aesthetic thing.
It ages well, I think.
The 2D, that's a good.
I think it ages well.
Yeah,
that's a good aesthetic for the graphics to take. So they were ahead of the curve there.
And the anime cutscenes were really impressive, I think, for the time.
Yeah, very impressive for the time. There weren't as many of them as there should have been. They're really front loaded on the game.
It's very front loaded.
There's a whole bunch in the first 2 hours, and then never again until the end.
Basically.
Yeah.
It could have.
So those are good.
It could have the music. I mean, it's
Mitsuda, my man,
doing his best to just be the best.
Doing what he does. Yeah. His third game, I think, wasn't that his third? Yeah, just the music is great. There are some stupid platforming sequences.
That's what I was gonna say. Like the platforming in Xenogears is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's
it's just it's a product of
time.
3D platforming in that era was just rough to begin with, and especially in a JRPG that wasn't that wasn't the style they were going for. So it wasn't they were stretching a little thin on mechanics that probably shouldn't have been.
It should not have had jumping. That's crazy.
Trying to jump
jumping in that game.
Jumping up Babel Tower.
That's the part where people got so furious at that part because if you fall, hey, guess what?
Yeah.
You got to do that again, and it's the least fun part of the game. So that was bad design.
It's not a perfect game. It definitely is not, but I think it brings a lot to the table though outside of that. And honestly, it's stemming from that. If you're a Xenoblade fan, a Xenosaga fan, or anything like that, this is the origins of the story.
It lays the groundwork.
It lays
all the groundwork for everything Takahashi and Saga have done.
Yeah.
Basically since then, even beyond. I feel like even beyond the Xeno series, but I don't know. Maybe that's.
I mean, if you think about it,
we'll see.
If you think about it, even Trails. A lot of influence that Trails gets, they've made it clear that Xenogears is kind of a inspiration to the Trails world in terms of how they in terms of how giant robots play a role in that and how they use that, and then also kind of they kind of bring in a little bit of some light philosophies here and there.
They do, yeah.
It's Xenogears Light, but they have you see it has influenced a lot of developers and a lot of JRPG creators to this day. But we can literally go on for hours about how much we love.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut myself off there.
I will say though, it is accessible on other systems. Well, you still buy on the Vita and the PS3, I believe.
Yes, that's it though.
On the store, digitally.
So get it
and
while the getting's good.
Very soon.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah, when those are going away.
Yeah,
probably before too long.
If you can, I know they don't make it easy to purchase things on the PlayStation 3. You have to load there's a roundabout way to load money into the.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, so there's it's not great the process to get this. I mean, but it's still cheaper than $150 at the end of the day. So all right, so I'm gonna start it. Is it worth the $150 to buy this? I say yes, but if you can buy the PS3 version and you have a PS3 handy with it, or Vita, I would go that route.
So it's not small screen.
Because honestly, on the Vita, it looks perfect. Even if you have
it on the Vita. That's how I've been playing it.
If you could somehow get it, if you download it on your PS3, and then you move it to your PSP, that screen, the PSP screen, is actually perfect integer scale of the PS1. So it actually looks exactly how you want it to look. Granted, it's small, but it runs perfectly on a PSP, if you want to put it that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But Vita's pretty good too. That's how I've been playing it.
100%. Yes.
I've
play any way you can at this point.
Yeah, I've played it on the Vita some as well. I mean, obviously, I said already that it's worth it to me 100%. It's a very influential game for me, so I would pay that all day all night.
Yeah, easily.
For me, I haven't started collecting PS1, but I will say that this is probably at the top of my list of ones that I would consider, shelling out money for, because as a big Xenoblade fan, I do want to kind of have the roots in my collection, and I would see myself, paying a lot of money for that. Maybe not totally complete in box. Maybe I would skip out on the manual or something, or green label if it's like super cheap, but some sort of physical
you're a
representation.
You're a latecomer to the game, so like I wouldn't even criticize you for not having the manual. Like I wouldn't make fun of you for it.
No.
Like I would Dalla if you didn't have the manual.
If I didn't have the manual, I would sit there and allow Branden to just lash out at me.
I would ask you to leave. I know you're in your own home, but I would ask you to stand up and leave if you didn't.
I would walk out.
And we would just have an empty chair.
If I looked at us and I opened this up and I'll be like, yeah, I have a manual, and then it wasn't there.
Oh,
you just see my chair spinning and I'm gone.
A dust cloud in the shape of Dalla is all that's left, and then it evaporates.
And then I'll just never return until I find a manual. That'll be my manual arc. Sorry.
A lot of people felt like the author was treading water during the manual arc.
It's not great. It's not a great arc. It's very monotonous and it's a lot of filler, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in short, I would say it's worth it, again, with the caveat, if you collect for the system, you like influential JRPGs, and you're into the Xeno kind of universe, I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
Agreed. There's one other PlayStation 1 game I wanted to mention specifically, and that is Tales of Destiny 2, which those of you in the know, you might recognize this as Tales of Eternia. Because this was called Tales of Eternia in every other region except here, because they thought Tales of Destiny came out. That's a name people might recognize. Let's put 2 on it, which created confusion later because there is a Tales of Destiny 2 on the PlayStation 2 that is a sequel to Tales of Destiny. We didn't get that game. But anyway, I digress.
It's very confusing.
It is a little confusing. Tales of Destiny 2, though, is, to my mind, having played through all of the Tales games that came out over here in release order, it was the game that I was like, okay, they've got it. Like they've figured out the formula. They know what they're doing with the characters and the story now. The art was beautiful and didn't look like a slightly upscaled 16-bit game like Destiny did. Sorry, Destiny fans. People get mad when I say that, but like it could have been on the Super Nintendo. It didn't look that great. Destiny 2 was beautiful. I don't hate the music in it. Which is a big praise coming from me because I'm not a fan of the work of the composer on the Tales of series. A fan of his work otherwise, I just want to say, because I know people have been upset with me for
I saw the comments
being critical of his music. It's just the Tales series, and it's because he phones it in, and I have proof that he phones it in because he said he phones it in.
He told Branden. He told Branden.
No, he said in an interview that they specifically, it's not 100% his fault. They asked him to hold back. And we're not here to
That's sad.
We're not here to talk about that.
Okay. All right.
He's a great composer. But anyway, this was the one where I was like, okay, like I can, because after the first 2, I was like, these are good. But like, if they didn't get any better, I don't know that they would have held me.
Yeah.
But Tales of Destiny 2, Tales of Eternia, the combat was way more engaging than the previous entries to me. The characters, like it was like almost fully voice acted. It's one of these rare early like PlayStation 1 games where almost every major story scene, I think, was fully voiced. Like you didn't see that really until the PlayStation 2 era become more of a common thing. And they were doing it here on the PlayStation 1. Now, is it corny? Is it like, mid 90s era voice acting? Sure.
Of course.
But it's actually not as bad as that sounds. Like it actually works most of the time. So that's my experience with it. To the price, just so you're aware, $189, which is actually down quite a bit. A couple of years ago, it was as high as $350. So it has come down a decent bit, but it is still a very pricey meatball.
That sure is.
Yeah. Have either of you played Destiny 2 / Eternia?
I never played any of the Tales of games.
Okay, no Tales of for Emily.
Wow, okay. I didn't know you've never played any of them.
I have a couple.
Okay.
But eventually, they're on my list.
Yeah.
I played Tales of games, but I've never beaten this game. I never owned it. I played my friend owned it, and I played a little bit back in the day, but I never actually beat it or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. It's a good one.
Yeah, I love it. I like the Tales games in general. Like they're nice.
I do too.
They're like junk food for me.
Yeah,
like it's not like
they have silly skits, right?
Yeah, they're fun skits,
funny little skits.
The characters are always a little like, especially when there's good characters. Like I think when they get it right and the characters all mesh really well together, it's like it's a fun experience. It's like it's like watching like a shonen anime. It's like you're not going in it for like deep plot for half the time, but you're in it for the fun and the character interactions and things like that. And that's where I think like Tales brings it.
Yeah, and the action RPG stuff's probably serviceable, right?
The battle system is generally fun. I think there's some games that do it better than others, but it's got charm. It's got the fun battle system to it. So they're good.
Yeah, especially in the action RPG space, it's one of the action RPGs that is the most like a traditional turn-based JRPG in like every other way. It's when you play an action RPG, sometimes it feels like almost like a completely separate thing from a turn-based RPG. But the Tales of series is a turn-based RPG in every way except in the combat, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If that doesn't make sense, I'm sorry, I can't explain it any better than that. But it's great. It like is super nostalgic, even though I never played them growing up. Like it still felt very nostalgic playing it. And now, would I pay $180 whatever I said dollars for it? No, I don't think I would. No. My brother gave this to me. Actually, I don't know if he gave this one to me or not. I borrowed it from him. He gave me a bunch of games.
He's going to be watching this,
some of his games,
and he's going to be like, Branden.
So if you're watching this and you want this back, I will give it back to you. I will cry, but I will give it back to you. So I don't know if he gave it to me or not, but I didn't have to pay for it. Like when I was looking to play it, it was almost $400 to buy it.
That's a lot.
And I was like, I can't do that. And he was like, just borrow mine. I was like, great, thank you. So,
so he said borrow.
He did say borrow.
He did say borrow, but things. But the reason I say that things have changed because he gave me a bunch of games after that, like almost all of his games. He may want that one back. It's fine. He can have it back. He can have it back.
We're gonna regret bringing it up.
Yeah, no, I'm like, I don't know if he listens to the podcast.
You're gonna cut this whole section off of the episode just for this.
I'll leave it in to see. I'll leave it in to see if he listens. I don't know if he listens to the podcast, but this will be the proof. This will be the proving point. So we'll see. But I don't think I would pay more than $100 for any Tales of game, and that's not to disparage the Tales of games. I love the series.
Yeah,
I just feel like they're like a B tier series to me.
There's so many of them.
There's a lot of them, and even at their best, I don't love them more than any other series or game.
Yeah, if I was going to spend like $180 on a JRPG, it's most likely not going to be Tales of.
Xenogears for me.
Yeah,
it'd be a Xenogears or a. There's a lot of series that I would put series above it.
Yeah,
I do love the Tales of games, but
I do. Yeah,
they're solid B for me. So it's like
The other thing to consider, though, is Bandai Namco said that they're going to be remastering a bunch of Tales of games. Like we're getting Tales of Grace's F soon.
Yeah, end of month.
So I think they're just going to have a bunch of them come out.
Yeah.
And
hopefully it's not subpar.
And they'll call it the actual name, not Tales of Destiny 2.
Yeah. I just hope they
don't
be
cool.
Pull like, Tales of Symphonia remastered business on
and make it.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
I just want
hopefully they learn their lesson.
Hopefully. I mean, because like Berseria wasn't too bad. Like that
didn't get a remaster.
Nope. Not Berseria, sorry. Vesperia.
Yeah, Vesperia was okay.
Like that remaster was fine. Like nothing incredible, but like it didn't cause any issues. That Symphonia.
Yeah, it didn't create any new issues.
Yeah, well, I feel like Symphonia just like created them new.
On the 3DS.
Yeah,
that's a nice way to play it.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm hoping they've learned, but we'll see. We'll see when it comes out.
We'll see.
I've pre-ordered it.
Oh,
so we'll see.
Jump the gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went ahead and pre-ordered it. I love Grace's F. It's probably my favorite Tales of game.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I just like.
I'm looking forward to it then.
I really wanted Xillia,
but eventually.
I'm excited for whenever they do Xillia.
Zillia's probably 2 for me, number 2.
Yeah, because I really liked Xillia a lot.
Is that on the PS4?
PS3.
No, that was 3.
Okay.
It's the one
What's
where
the
you
one
can.
that sounds really similar? Is that I get so confused with all the tales of
Because of the nonsense names that they have? Yes, the nonsense names that never come up.
So similar, you know? Like
They never come up in the story
Xillia.
of the game either. They never say the name of... They don't say
That's
Symphonia.
true.
They don't say Xillia. They don't say...
Why?
I've never thought about
don't
that.
know.
I've never
I don't know.
till now. I've never thought about that, but you're like it's 100% right. Like I've never heard
I'm trying to
Berseria
think if there's
brought up.
one
so Grace's
exception
F?
to it.
What's with the F?
That was the remake. So
F
Tales of
for
Graces was a
fancy?
Wii game. F for fancy.
Futuristic?
I think it was supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be Future or something goofy. But it was a PlayStation 3 remaster / port of a Wii game. So
Okay.
that's where the F came from.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Confusing still.
yeah. So, last but certainly not least, especially from a price standpoint, we have the Fire Emblem Fates, and I'm not talking about Conquest or Birthright on their own. I'm talking about the special edition Fire Emblem Fates collection that had both Conquest and I just said it.
Revelations.
Well, yeah, but what was the other one? I just said it.
Fates, Conquest, Birthright, Revelations.
Birthright. And also,
Yes.
so that's the thing that makes this special, other than the packaging, is it has the Revelations
DLC.
third scenario, but it's on the cart, right? Like you don't
Yes.
download it. Yeah.
Correct.
So it's the only way, correct, to get a physical copy of that game, of Revelations. So, wow, that sucks for anybody that didn't get it because that's expensive, I'm sure.
Sucks
let's
for
look
me.
at the price.
What's the current price at?
$375 complete in box.
That's so expensive.
I remember
not
when the
much
3DS
cheaper
shop was
loose.
closing. It was like in the 400s, 500s. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
Panicked.
it's gone down a little bit.
Yeah.
But I bought this. I didn't get it initially because I think it was a GameStop exclusive here. And it was very difficult to get a hold of. And so I didn't get it until a few years later. I want to say in 2019. I paid up a bit. I think I did like $150. I think originally it was like $80, maybe
it's not-
$120. Maybe it was
$150 is a screaming deal for.
It's like 80, 120. So yeah, I was pretty happy afterwards. Like it was a lot at the time for me because I think that was the most I spent on a game.
Yeah.
But I was happy to get it, even though I haven't actually got into Revelations yet. One day I'll finally finish this.
But you have it. It's there, you know.
Yeah, whenever you want to
there-
finish it, you have it.
One thing, though, to note about the 3DS games is that there have been reports of some of the cartridges failing. There haven't been any reports on this one, at least. So far, it's been, was it Persona Q, the first one? And the first
the original
print,
original issue?
that first issue had a lot of issues. I think they fixed it when they reissued
Any
it.
first-party games have problems with that?
Yes. And then Pokemon, we talked about earlier, Pokemon, the remasters, was it?
Soul Silver. And,
No. That's DS.
What's it called?
Alpha Omega one.
Okay, yeah.
The Ruby Sapphire remakes.
Okay.
Those ones have been known to fail.
Okay.
Actually, my copy of Sapphire, I had to finagle a little bit for it to actually work. So I'm a little bit worried. I've since beat it. So at least I've beaten it. But I'm a little bit worried to stick it back in and see what happens. The 3DS apparently has the mechanism where if you put it into your system, it's supposed to self-repair, but I think only to an extent.
Okay.
When it comes to those that flash save.
So it's the flash memory sort of thing. Okay.
But
That's
something to be
concerning,
aware
but-
of, and it's concerning if this is going to affect other 3DS games because a lot of people
should
have this
test
on their
mine.
shelves and we won't know what's failing or what's not failing in the next couple of years if people aren't playing them. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, it'd be one thing if Nintendo didn't make it so difficult to come across the read-only memory of those games on the internet, but we know how they like to
Yes.
keep people from playing the games that they made.
I will say
and
though,
don't-
Yeah.
it's very easy to homebrew a 3DS. If you own a 3DS system,
Surprisingly
you can
easy.
homebrew it.
Yes.
So there are ways to play these games still and have your own, preservation on that front.
Exactly.
So do you need to shell out the $300+ for this? Probably not.
Probably
Unless
not.
you are a diehard Fire Emblem fan.
Right. It's
And you need it.
it's a collector's piece for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just worried there might be issues with it down the line, which is concerning.
Yeah. But if you homebrew it, luckily there are people out there that are preserving, let's say, the DLC. That is, so that way you can always find that DLC somewhere. If homebrew,
as long as their servers are up. So
yeah,
it's, who knows what's going to happen in the future when it comes to the whole Black Seas kind of stuff.
I was going to say, I'm sure somebody has gotten it and put it somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's in the homebrew world. Like you can find it,
Yeah.
if you want to One Piece it.
In the future, we're going to have more roadblocks, on a governmental standpoint, but
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
we'll see.
And if Nintendo has their way. So we'll see. Yeah, it all depends. But until then, there are ways to get it. I personally, I wouldn't.
eShop is gone. Why not?
Yeah, like from my standpoint, I probably wouldn't buy this collection just because it's a little too pricey for something I can probably get like in a different way.
Sure.
Exactly.
And I already have the games in it minus the DLC.
The 2 base games.
Yeah, the 2 base games. So like it doesn't make sense for me to rebuy it for that much just for the DLC.
I do hear Revelations is actually a pretty good DLC third path. It kind of brings everything together, but I don't think it's worth that amount of money for sure.
Yeah.
Just to experience it. How about you, Brandon? What do you think?
I mean, as a casual Fire Emblem fan, not the hardcore, I don't think I would purchase that. If it was $100, I might, even though I'm not still a casual fan.
Yeah.
I think it's a nice piece.
That's like MSRP though. I think it was either 80 or 120 MSRP.
Yeah.
I would say I'd pay 150 for it on the aftermarket. Like that's probably as high as I would go.
That's where I would be.
But I mean that and that's just as a casual fan who wouldn't mind having the shelf piece if nothing else. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think the odds of me playing those 3 Fire Emblem games. I don't think that I'm going to get to all 3 of them. Realistically, probably not. I still need to play Awakening for crying out loud. So. Yeah. I'm a little behind on the 3DS ones, so I'm probably going to play the spin-off one, Echoes, first.
Oh, that's my favorite one. Definitely
I really liked what I played of that. I started that one and was enjoying it, so I'll probably start with that. But anyway, those are some expensive games, y'all.
Dude, very expensive.
Such expense.
And we just hit a couple of these. Like there's so many more. We are thinking of maybe expanding this into future episodes if you guys like this format and us talking about expensive games and whether or not they're worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let us know.
Let us know.
Yeah. And if you have any suggestions of ones that we could bring up, we'll be happy to discuss those.
Yeah. If you guys have any favorites or notorious ones that you'd like to hear us talk about, let us know.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my shelves to look at, but I'm gonna miss stuff, and we're all gonna miss stuff. So let us know what we're missing.
Exactly. Even if we don't have it, be fun to talk about it because we know.
Yeah,
we know.
And if we haven't played them, like I think I've heard enough about a lot of the JRPGs that are out there, and whether or not we think they're for us. On that standpoint,
we can. At least one of us will be able to speak with at least some level of confidence about most games, I think. And if we can't, then we won't cover it. But we will. We won't BS you, is what I'm saying. We will give you our best.
We can always give it an honorary mention, though. I think if none of us have played it.
Yeah, if we don't have anything to say about it, we can at least bring it up, maybe because some of you have.
Exactly.
Yeah. You guys want to do some show and tell?
Yeah, I think it's time.
We should. Now that the holidays are over.
Yeah.
Do you guys get a lot of goodies?
Yes, I got toys. Toys from Santa Claus, and I'm very happy with all of the things I got. Who wants to go first? Like,
I feel like you're super excited, Branden.
You're super excited. I think you need to show off.
Excited.
I think just go. Let's jump in.
Okay. Well, so my wife, she always goes overboard and like either makes me stuff or has things made for me. There's a whole bunch of stuff. She made me this little hoodie.
Oh,
the channel.
That's gems.
Totes cute, right?
Perfect.
I love it.
Very warm and cozy. I've been wearing it down here in my frigid basement as I've been playing.
It is
video
very
games
cold down there,
over the
actually.
holidays. Yeah, it's so cold.
Oh. You don't have like a little heater unit?
I do. It's right next to me right now. It's doing its best. It's doing the best it can. She also had this made for me, little JRPG Pursuit throw pillow to go along with the cross-stitched Just the Gems one she made for me the previous year. What else did I get? Oh, she made me this Moogle. This little felted.
It's very like
Moogle.
nice artsy Christmas.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's a cute Moogle. That's really
It is
good.
a very cute Moogle. Yeah.
She
did
chose a
great
good
job on that.
Moogle model to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the 16 Moogles that are creepy.
No, those
Little
are terrible.
cactus.
I got some other plushies
my favorite.
from my family.
So
I feel
cute.
like my family is finally starting to get me. They're like, he likes this stuff. Right?
Well, you did make a little wish list, right? Did they just
did.
refer to the
Did
video?
Did they watch their
Jen, I'm
video?
sure Jen's.
Did you make
Jen
them
may have
all
sent
watch their
them
video?
ideas. No, I would be mortified to do that. But I got the little chocobo. Love these little guys.
I kind of want to get that little cactus. Actually, I might look that up after this and buy it because I love little cactus.
So Jen got me this little Xenogears
you got
little music box thing here.
Nice.
This might be an Etsy creation. I don't know if this is an official one.
I don't know if they made it. Did they make an official Xenogears? Maybe they did.
Sure.
I think they
It's
did.
possible. Square Enix likes to bring
'Cause I
out
have a-
things in the vault and just sell it.
I have
without
a Final Fantasy
releasing the
X
game.
one.
Oh, do you? Nice.
Yeah.
And then I got these. Trying to stop the reflection here.
Oh.
These,
I picked those up in
slime
Japan, actually. I have the
chopsticks.
same copy.
Oh, do you?
They're very nice.
Oh, nice.
I
The
was-
little slime dish chopstick rest. It's very cute, too.
I was gonna pick
Love
that
that.
up, but there was out of stock because like there's in Osaka there's a Family Mart that is or Lawson. Sorry, I think it's Lawson. That's
Oh, they sell Square Enix stuff?
it's
I got
it's
mine
the
at
whole
Animate,
theme.
I think.
The whole theme of the
Oh, yeah.
is what do you call it? Dragon Quest. So you go in
They have,
there
like,
and
a
everything they
walking
own
thing.
there.
Yeah. There's like some Dragon Quest walking event when I was
Yeah.
there.
But when I went in there, it was like all sold out. I'm sorry, Brandon. I see you. I see you and I hear you. I see you and I hear you.
This was the first nonverbal interruption that we've had on the show, and I apologize for that. I interrupted you with the thing I was holding, and I didn't mean to do that.
No, but like it's the look you had too. It was like you're like I'm super excited to talk about this, and you're in the way of that.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Continue your thought.
No, that was my thought.
I think you finished it.
That was it. That was it.
Got some stickers.
So excited to share stickers.
Got some Harvestella stickers.
It
I
was-
haven't put them on anything
Oh,
yet.
no wonder it's Harvestella. That's what
Yeah.
brings out your
That's why
like.
it's inner child.
I don't want to
Yeah,
get in between you and Harvestella stickers. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
watch
I'm sorry,
out.
everybody. I'm
Watch
sorry.
out.
You saw
then,
sight of him.
Picked up a couple. Jen got me a couple of games. These are ones that I have reviewed, so I technically have like digital copies, but I wanted to have in the collection as well. So Visions of Mana, Life is Strange, Double Exposure, and then somebody got me this.
I don't know who this.
I think it was Dallah.
Who would do it?
Picked up Metaphor, so now I have no excuse. I need to play Metaphor.
Yes.
I really wanted to anyway because I feel like I always miss I want to play games when other people are playing them. Either I'm reviewing it, and so I'm playing it before everybody else is playing it, or I get to it so late everybody's done talking about it. It's like,
I haven't finished my playthrough, so we could play it together. Once
I'll
I
try
finish
and catch
Daybreak.
up. I'll try and catch up.
Yeah.
Get to where you were, so we can talk about it. Trying to think. Back there, I don't want to take it off the wall, but Emily sent me this nice little Harvestella. What would you call that? Like a print?
It's got a jacket
or-
side. It's a mega jacket card that was an Amazon Japan exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
So
It's like a
that
pre-order bonus.
wonderful- Yeah. Harvestella, I love it, love it, love it. I'm like so limited in my Harvestella art, so it's like, I'm excited to have that and like even stickers and stuff. I'm like, yes, Harvestella.
Yeah, when I saw it, I knew you had to have it. Had to send it to you.
I knew.
It's
I think that's it.
you got some good stuff.
Oh, and then so this is not a present. So I'm going to spoil this, Dallah. Sorry, but this is also a way of finding out if this is even going to work. So I had gotten you a thing.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know whether you have it already. You might have this. If you do have this, you don't have to be like, oh, it's okay. Like, I will keep it and I will get you something else. Like, if you have this, don't act like you should take it out of obligation.
I don't know.
Like,
I saw the reel you come out earlier. I was very afraid.
So this is the Xenosaga Episode 3 memory card from Japan.
What?
Oh.
Yeah, so it has this like cool little steel case, and then the memory card itself
It's so
has
cool
got
finding
Cosmos
this. I was
on
looking
it.
at some Final Fantasy ones earlier.
Where did you find that?
Was it on Suragaya or something?
Oh, they have lots of cool stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, and like looking at it on eBay, it's like kind of pricey, and I got it for a screaming deal on Suragaya.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Am I getting scammed?ed?" But no, it came and it was great.
Yeah.
So if you don't,
I don't have
this. Okay, well then that's what I got you for Christmas. So there you go. Sorry to spoil it, but I figured we're well past the date. I've been gone, so you know.
It's true, and also
Yeah.
I'm excited to actually take a look at that. So
yeah, it's
sir.
a cool little piece of
How big of a memory card is it? Is it like
8 megabytes.
So it's a typical
That was the standard PS2
for the PS2.
I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's gonna look great on my shelf in my.
It'd be a cool display
shelf.
piece.
I think so.
So I'm excited. That looks amazing.
I've gone over so much stuff. I'm so sorry for taking over. I think I covered everything. If I forgot something, I'm sorry. What am I forgetting? I think that's it.
Something Trails related?
Did I get? I got this blanket behind me. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah.
I
So
see it.
is a little Trails blanket.
Yeah, Trails action.
So you can cuddle some Lloyd while you.
I love yeah, he's very cuddleable.
Best boy.
Yeah, he's best boy.
He's a good boy.
Well, it's
he's good boy
Randy's
vibes.
a good boy too. Yeah.
Lloyd is like
down
golden
home good boy.
retriever.
Yes.
He's like golden retriever. So yeah.
All right, who wants to go next?
Sniffer of Justice.
Sniffer of justice. That's perfect.
You want to go first, Della?
Yeah, I can go. So a lot of like my Christmas stuff. I don't know. I did get like a piranha plant Lego set, but I don't feel like grabbing it from the floor over there.
It's all right.
But it's pretty cool. I have to put it together at some point. But a lot of the things I got for game wise, I finally picked up Visions of Mana. So
yeah.
like same as you, I got a nice version of this. So I'm excited to play this at some point this year. Love Mana series, and we talked about it before, and I'm excited that like it just came back, and
It's back.
I will throw as much money as I need to towards it, so that way they make another one.
Yes, please.
And now I need that little cactus. So like that's such a cool. I love little cactus. It's my favorite character from like Legend of Mana and things like that. So I love going into your room in Legend of Mana and just talking to him and writing down in his journal. So cute, so cute. Another thing I think Branden will appreciate is I got the physical version for Harvestella. Originally, I just had this on Steam because I figured it would play better on Steam in general.
Which it does.
Yeah, which I'll continue to play on Steam. But I wanted a physical version, so finally picked it up for the Switch. Got that for the holidays. And then from VGP, I picked up a few other things. But just to highlight today, some of the random stuff I got there was like a reissue of Odin Sphere.
Oh, cool.
And it was on sale for the holidays. So I was like, you know what? I've not picked this up physically yet. I have it digitally on the PlayStation Store, but never picked it up on physical. So I picked that up. And then just to add extra, money, just got to spend more so I can get, just a handful of dollars for free for shipping. They had a sale. Like it was like a ridiculous sale on Persona Strikers. And I have it digitally, but I never got it physically as well. And they had it for like $5 one night. And I was like, I already had things in my cart that I was already going to buy. And so I was like, I guess I'll just press the button. And then to add extra, I just picked up Shining Resonance Refrain. Never played it before. Dragon Girls.
Girls.
I will always promote Dragon Girls. For any reason. I don't know.
Dragon Girl awareness. That's what we do.
Y'all need to play more Fire Emblem. They got Dragon Girls.
They got Dragon Girls and Fire Emblem. Good to know.
I'm trying to remember who the Dragon Girls were.
It depends on the game.
Okay. Multiple Dragon Girls. Why am I blanking on Dragon Girls?
Confirmed. Yeah.
I played quite a few. I just can't remember. I guess I got to go back and remind myself.
Go back.
Remind myself of Dragon Girls. Have I tuned out the Dragon Girls? What have I done with myself? This is depressing. I got quite a few other random things, like random games, but they're like really old, like backlog games that I just like were just picking up for the sake of picking up, and I didn't.
Sure.
Maybe I'll share them another day or something like that whenever we want to talk about like other things, if I can show up some random pickups. But I think for right now, like that was the big key things I got for the holidays. And I did a lot of purchasing around the holidays, and I still have things that are coming in from VGP as well. I've spent so much money on VGP this holiday.
Yeah.
It's easy to do.
Yeah, they're crushing it lately.
I need to stop, guys.
I know.
It's break time. It's break time.
It's low buy time.
Low buy time.
I'm not committing. I'm not committing.
I'm not. I'm already have like 2 games coming to me this month, and like
I can't commit to that.
You know exactly. So like it is what it is.
I'm doing it. Except for the things that I have pre-ordered, but
yeah. And I did pick up some digital games too during like the sales and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
If you like arcade racers, random arcade, like it's so out of like whack. But Parking Garage, it's called Parking Garage Race, something like that. I forgot something. But it is like a Sega Saturn style, like visual style arcade racer that you're just like drifting through parking garages. And,
fun.
And you're trying to get like best time and stuff like that. But it's such a time sink. You just play it for like, you just pick it up and play. It's so easy to just play.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can go on. Yeah. That's good enough for me right now.
All right.
So Emily.
So I celebrated a birthday as well as Christmas, and I didn't really get any games for either occasion. My family, they're like, you already buy enough of things that for your hobbies, so we're not going to indulge you in this, and we don't want to buy you stuff you already have.
We're not enabling you? Is that what they're saying?
Exactly. And so they usually get me other things. But I do have some game-related things to show. Branden, however, did enable the gaming bug. So he got me Harvestella.
Of course.
Just pushing it on everybody.
Which I appreciate greatly. So I'll finally have to play this so we could actually talk about it when you guys bring it up.
Yeah. You'll have the knowledge.
Yeah. And then he also got me this very nice print of Zack Fair from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, Zack. Zack
and
Attack.
He's probably one of my favorite Final Fantasy characters. So I'm pleased.
And that particular artist is I really like his work. I want to say it's like Tylor Hepner. So I got that wrong, but I'll try to remember to put it on the screen. Yeah. He does really great stuff. Like his stuff, like the voice actors for the games, like commission him to do pieces for them to sign.
Oh,
like
cool.
He's like getting a pretty big name in the community.
That's
so
nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. And then off of Final Fantasy, I also got this on the 4K Ultra HD
4K
Final Fantasy Advent Children, or Final Fantasy VII.
I do.
Very nice.
Which I've never seen. So I wanted to watch this before I get into remake.
Okay. Yeah, I'm excited.
You should actually. I think it adds a little bit to the, because I think it
does.
It picks up on some of the lore that drops and stuff like that. So
the remake series does delve into the extended lore quite a bit. So
nice. Yeah, I got this super cheap on Amazon. I want to say less than $10.
Nice.
Sometime last month. Yeah. And this is my first 4K Ultra HD, which your PS5 should be able to play. So I'm excited to see how that looks.
It looks real good, I'm sure.
And then for myself, I picked up a figure back there of, I'll grab it, of Abdallah, once this decides to focus again on my camera. Might take a minute.
That is cool. That is big.
It's a 1/7. So all of the Trails figures that Kotobukiya makes have been 1/8. And so this is 1/7. So it's much larger, and it was a lot more expensive, actually.
Hold that right next to your head for me.
Emily for scale.
Good God, that thing is so big.
so
Holy
big, and he's
cow.
crouched down. And so when
Yeah.
Donna comes out,
Oh,
like in a couple
yeah.
months, she's going to be so much taller because she's like dancing and like
Extended, yeah.
extended. And I don't know where
you
I'm going
have
to put her. I think I don't know. I'll have to
Is
figure
there
out.
room
something.
next to him? I don't.
Not
It's
next
a
to
tight
him. I
squeeze.
don't.
Yeah.
The base is too big for that.
I know, it's massive.
Unless they
Yeah.
make her base tiny, which I don't think is going to happen.
I don't think it's gonna. Yeah.
So I think what I have to do is move him up here because he just fit there, and then her
Yeah.
down there.
Oh, that's probably a good
For
idea.
another
yeah.
day, I'll do that.
Yeah. At least they'll be adjacent.
Yeah, I just wanted all the Eve stuff kind of clustered together because I had to make room for more Trails stuff back there. Because we'll be getting a lot more Trails stuff this year that I'm excited for.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I'm excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Those were all the things that I had to share. I plan to do a pickups video on my channel sometime soon. Mostly rehashing things I've shared already as pickups on here, but a couple new things I'm saving for that.
Sweet.
Excited.
All right. Well, that's it for us
Yes.
today,
Yeah.
folks.
That's a lot.
Thank you all so much for watching, for listening,
Yes.
for tuning in all the ways you do. If you are a member at the pursuer level or whatever, stick around for the after show, or we'll click on the link. You can't just stick around.
Stick
It's not
around.
like
We're
that.
not here.
It's not how it works. It's
We'll
not how
have
it
it
works.
up right after this.
Yeah, but we'll post the after show as well. Hang with us there, and
For some
I don't know.
unfiltered content and discussions and chat. I don't know what we'll be talking about for this episode,
Yeah.
but it should be fun.
Should get
It
weird.
will be, yeah.
It'll
It
be
always
good.
is.
It is.
It always does. It always gets a little weird.
Great.
Anything else we should mention before we wrap it up?
I think we covered some expensive games, and we'll love to hear more
did.
expensive games from you guys. And
Please.
look forward to our next episode next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see you then, everybody.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.